It's time for Doctor Who Sunday.
Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters.
I crown you Queen of the Woke!
Let's chat about it.
Today we are looking at Mummy on the Orient Express, which was voted by you, the subscriber, to vote on the current poll. Please head on over to the post page where you can find it after this video, of course, if you wish to. Please let me know what you think of Mummy on the Orient Express in the comment section below, and please do keep it friendly in the chat. Mummy on the Orient Express was written by Jamie Mathewson and it aired on the 11th of October 2014. Wow, it's well over 10 years old now. The Doctor and Clara are going out for a last hurrah. They land on the Orient Express in space, however, they are not aware of the death that had taken place prior to their landing. There was a mummy who could only one person only see at one time. This resulted in Mrs. Pitt passing away within 66 seconds. Clara is not best pleased with the Doctor like normal, and they're pretty much both doing their own thing at this stage. The Doctor begins making inquiries about the incident with Mrs. Pitt and finding out about the foretold. The foretold appears 66 seconds before you die. It first appeared over 5,000 years ago, and legend has it that you have to say the secret word to the foretold to prevent your death. The Doctor continues to investigate without Clara knowing, and she also walks about on the train and finds Miss Pitt looking for the body of her grandmother. Miss Pitt breaks into a hold where they have this sarcophagus, I think it was, and she and Clara get trapped in there. The Doctor has also now met the mechanic and he is arrested for the deaths on the train. However, he is immediately let go when another death happens before them. The Doctor is able to work out that the Orient Express was just a train in disguise. The majority of the people on board were just holograms. Thus, the computer has set up a mission for the experts. That mission is to work out and solve the mystery of the foretold. Can the Doctor solve the mystery before every soul on board is taken? Alright, I won't lie to you. This is a good one. I do like this one. With one exception, no surprises here, guessing who it is. Clara. However, I will discuss Clara much later on. There are so many good points with this one. I don't have many negatives whatsoever. Alright, but I do have a few. Firstly, the play on the title. We know that the title is based on the Agatha Christie title, Murder on the Orient Express. I think that I like the concept of changing it a little and putting the train in space instead, making it appear to be a 1920s type of setting that is a tourist attraction. Kind of reminds me of Midnight. Like Midnight, this too is a bottled story, and I do think that Midnight is better and more thriller-esque. This one is definitely up there though, with a similar quality but different intensity. Midnight was tense all the way through. This one has varying levels of pace that lends itself to the story. It's not too rushed, as I quite often find with Doctor Who stories these days, and the tonality is good for the Capaldi era that began to suffer greatly later on in its run. It's definitely one of those you have to watch a couple of times to fully grasp what the concepts are and the whole purpose behind it. In this case, it is not the man that is inherently evil. It's Gus, the computer type of character that has been trying to entice the Doctor on board for a very long time. Technology being the root of all evil is a much better idea than Kablam, which I reviewed recently. I think taking the ancient myth of the mummy that becomes zombified and turning it into its own myth with the foretold in Doctor Who is quite a bit of clever writing. The foretold appears 66 seconds before you die, and it first appeared over 5,000 years ago, and there is a word that you have to guess in order to save yourself, right? So that's a really good concept overall. I know Stephen Moffat didn't write this story, but it has Stephen Moffat written all over it. So maybe it was his idea, but written by somebody else. The 66 seconds rule is also a common trope. Well, not a trope, actually. It's a common theme that Moffat likes to use throughout his entire tenure when he's writing for Doctor Who, and even when he makes comebacks. Here it is used effectively. With each time the timer starts, we get a death of one of the supporting artists or the main cast of characters, all of whom have some kind of affliction or a trauma like the Foretold has in its past. The sheer terror that this story could potentially bring to a young person is crazy to think about. What would add to it is the fact that only one person can see this at any one time. So the Doctor has absolutely nothing to go on. Nothing. Now, I will say they set up the resolution to this story really quite early on. Clever. We don't often get that these days. We are told that there is a word. So we know that the Doctor has to work out what that word is in order to stop what is going on. We have no clue how he's going to do it. No clue, but we've been told that there is this word that he's got to find. I like it when that happens. We can solve the puzzle with him, or we can try. The appearances of the mummy are very good. The setup with the supporting artists was very integral to this. It shows the viewer very well how the Foretold gets to target its next victim. The supporting artists do a very good job. They don't get much love, I'm afraid to say, on this channel. I do apologise, but I'm giving them some love now. They are very good at doing what it is that they do in maintaining the fear and making us believe that it is truly happening to them. I will say the opening is the most important setup and very well performed by the Mummy and Mrs. Pitt. It was irksome and it was puzzling. We are experiencing, as the viewer, what she is technically experiencing, I guess you could say. And I like the use of the other two victims showing the teleportation and Peter's Doctor grilling them very forcefully, and it leading to a horrific shot of the mummy's hand going through the Doctor's face. Love it. I would say that shot was probably lucky in some respects to get put in, because it's quite left field. You don't expect that to be happening, but it's kind of what you want really with Doctor Who. It's exactly how it should be. There's nothing pushy in this story, really, except for Clara. Oh my goodness, right? Let's do this. It's not a secret, all right? I'm not the biggest fan of Clara. I always found her a bit lackluster in her awe for the Doctor. I don't know if that is the acting choices made by Gemma Coleman. It's definitely in the writing for sure. I feel like for a story this intense, the Dr. Clara issues needed to be set aside completely. I was actually pleased when she got trapped. Thank you, Miss Pitt, for showing your humane grief and response to your gran passing away. You got Clara trapped. I just don't get Clara. I just don't really get her all the time. It's clear she likes the Doctor, but she's quite uppity with him, especially this incarnation, because it was taken in the complete opposite direction with Peter Capaldi, which was a good thing. Now, and actually, I'm going to say this. Now, one thing that was good with Clara was when she lectures the Doctor about not caring or showing remorse and, of course, lying to her. Clara, well, she isn't a dunderhead, right? And she's not played that way. However, I think it is important that that this lecture happens, weirdly, and the Doctor's rebuff happened. Somewhere along the lines with the Tennant and Smith era, the Doctor's inability to appear to, not care and show remorse or lack of remorse seems to have got lost somewhere along the way. And I think with the Capaldi Doctor, it was very important to bring it back, because the Doctor had become too touchy-feely, too huggy, and everything that was never associated with the Doctor in the first place. There were some incidences, actually, there were incidences, not some, with Tennant and Smith, where it was part of their common trait to constantly show remorse and to constantly appear to care. What we see with the Capaldi Doctor is that it's something that we've had with earlier doctors, much earlier doctors, and the lying or having to, have some knowledge of the situation prior to arriving. And that is commonly associated with the Seventh Doctor. These traits are part of what establish the Doctor as an alien and make him very different from the human race. The companions are never supposed to fully understand the Doctor, which is why they ask their questions. It's nice to bring that back with Peter Capaldi's Doctor. My rating of his Doctor since doing a load of rewatches has gone up even more so, in my opinion. Even with that, we get his weird quirks, the jelly babies in the cigarette case. I completely forgotten about that little bit, actually, to be honest with you. But it's very funny and a nice nod to the Fourth Doctor's obsession with jelly babies, or the fact that he is a mystery shopper, because that is what the captain fears most with the psychic paper. What remains unchanged is his uncanny want for trying to save people, which is good, because obviously that does show he cares, but accepting the reality that he has to make sacrifices in order to do so. It's clear the Capaldi Doctor at the end does not like what he had to do. In the heat of the moment, it appears like he didn't care, but he did. The delivery was blasé, but that was important for the lecture from Clara. Okay, I'm just going to say that it was very important for it to be blasé, so that she says what she says. Could you say that it is irresponsible of the Doctor? No. You could argue it, but he does do everything that he does in this for the right reasons. If you don't know what you are dealing with, then you have to make a choice. He said it himself. Even if the choices are bad, you've got to make that choice. Much like everyday life. Look at that. A message with no preaching. I love the fact that the Doctor had to take a massive and quite possibly inhumane risks with this story. Without it, he wouldn't have been able to establish that the victims get taken out of phase and the mummy drains their energy. That plot point is so simple because it lends itself quite sublimely to the resolution, where the Doctor scans Miss Pitt and transfers her trauma to him so that he can see the mummy. As soon as he sees that mummy, bam, 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 it's resolved with the situation of the foretold. Okay? The Doctor even told us that it would be resolved quickly. We were told that was going to happen. The choice of words were, "We surrender." Nice. Absolutely nice. And we got the reveal of the words. We saw how he was going to solve it. What I also like about this story was that this was no ordinary resolution either. Gus was going to blow up the train. Yeah, well, if you solved it, well, let's just blow up the train instead. I love that. Everyone starts passing out because of the oxygen levels, and they just drop like flies, leaving the Doctor to just resolve absolutely everything. Now, overall, I don't really have that much more to say about this. Okay, it is one of my shorter reviews, but that's okay because I also asked you what you thought. Let's have a look at those particular comments. So Farsight says, "This is what is sorely missing post Capaldi: a believable Doctor, a good story, borrowing from Gothic horror." I agree. It's a very good story. The conductor was a little OTT. I don't think the conductor was OTT. I think it was more the writing that was doing that. But we can agree to disagree on that. But it is an intriguing and scary concept. I would have preferred it darker still. Yeah, I agree. I think it should have gone darker. But it's one of the best New Who stories. The biggest letdown was the malfunctioning tech that was the villain. I would have liked. No, I don't know. I didn't mind that actually personally. I would have had it an Osirian wrapped in the same repairing bandages as the androids, using the passengers and crew of the train to repair their withered body. Okay, you know, I mean, we can agree to disagree on that. There's great things about this story, there's bad things about this story. Mad McCann says, at the time, average. In retrospect, and on a recent watch, a B plus. Oh, I miss having a real doctor. You know, sometimes it's one of those sad realizations, and I did this a little while ago with a Colin Baker story after watching all of the Shooty Gatwa ones. I was so relieved. It was very clear that the doctor, come sort of like the end of the Shooty Gatwa run, had become too much like a human, and it was very good to go back to somebody who clearly understood that the character was an alien. It's a relief, isn't it? It's an absolute relief. And the Capaldi Doctor can be a bit like brusque, like the Sixth Doctor as well. And there's a very clear definition of he is an alien. Jason Wilde says, I'm a sucker for this sort of stuff. Loved every second. And that is absolutely fair enough. It is always okay to like a story where somebody else may not like it, or we all have different opinions about a story. That is something that I'll always try to maintain on this channel. But that is what I think about Mummy on the Orient Express. Please do let me know what you think about it in the comments section below. Chat about it, don't chat about it. Check out some of the other content I have picked out for you. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.